First Contact and the Challenge Admiral. Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of Earth Defense Station Horizon, watching the blue marble of her homeworld rotate slowly beneath the stars. The station hung in space like a metal guardian, its weapon systems powered down, but ready. Sarah had spent 15 years in Earth's Unified Space Command, rising through the ranks during humanity's golden age of space exploration. She was known for her sharp mind and calm presence under pressure. Her dark hair was pulled back in regulation style, and her uniform bore the insignia of Earth's highest military rank. The morning shift had just begun when Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez burst through the command center doors. His face was pale, and sweat beaded on his forehead despite the station's cool temperature. He clutched a data tablet in his trembling hands. "Admiral Chen," he called out, his voice cracking slightly. "You need to see this immediately." Sarah turned from the viewport and walked to the central command station. Around her, dozens of technicians monitored Earth's defense networks, tracking satellites and deep space sensors. The hum of machinery filled the air, but something felt different today. There was tension in the room that hadn't been there yesterday. "What is it, Lieutenant?" Sarah asked, taking the tablet from Rodriguez's hands. "Long-range sensors detected something at the edge of our solar system 3 hours ago," Rodriguez explained. "At first we thought it was debris or maybe a comet cluster, but the readings keep getting stronger and the objects are moving in perfect formation." Sarah studied the data on the screen. The numbers didn't make sense at first. Then her eyes widened as she realized what she was looking at. The objects were massive, each one larger than Earth's biggest space stations. They moved with purpose and precision that no natural phenomenon could explain. "How many?" she asked quietly. "Over 200 confirmed contacts, Admiral. Possibly more behind them." The command center fell silent as Sarah processed this information. In all of humanity's years exploring space, they had never encountered another intelligent species. Earth scientists had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it was approaching at incredible speed. "Time to reach Earth orbit?" Sarah asked. "At their current velocity, approximately 18 hours, Rodriguez replied. Sarah handed the tablet back to the lieutenant and walked to the communication station. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel as she opened a secure channel to Earth's Global Defense Council. "This is Admiral Chen aboard Horizon Station," she said into the microphone. "Priority Alpha alert. We have confirmed contact with unknown vessels approaching Earth. I repeat, we have first contact with alien spacecraft." The response came within minutes. President Maria Vasquez appeared on the main screen, her face grave but determined. Behind her stood the heads of every major nation on Earth, united in a way they had never been before. "Admiral, what's the situation?" President Vasquez asked. "Over 200 large vessels approaching from beyond Pluto's orbit," Sarah reported. "Their technology appears far advanced from ours. They're maintaining radio silence despite our attempts to communicate. Recommendations?" Sarah looked around the command center at her crew. These were Earth's finest, men and women who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity. She saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. "We prepare for the worst and hope for the best," Sarah said. "Activate all defense platforms. Recall all civilian ships to Earth orbit, and send a message to these visitors that Earth welcomes peaceful contact." Hours passed as Earth's defenses came online. Orbital weapons, platforms that had been built for asteroid defense, were powered up and aimed at the approaching fleet. Fighter squadrons launched from bases on Luna and Mars. The entire human race held its breath as they waited to learn the intentions of their cosmic visitors. Then, 18 hours after first detection, the alien fleet dropped out of faster than light, travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. They were unlike anything humanity had ever imagined. The ships were elegant and deadly, shaped like curved blades with surfaces that seemed to absorb light. They moved with perfect coordination, forming attack formations that spoke of military experience spanning centuries. The largest ship, a massive vessel that dwarfed anything in Earth's fleet, moved to the front of the formation. It was clearly the flagship, decorated with symbols that pulsed with inner light. From this ship came humanity's first message from another intelligent species. The voice that echoed through Horizon Station's speakers was deep and commanding, translated by universal communication protocols that the aliens apparently used throughout the galaxy. "Primitive inhabitants of the third planet," the voice began. "I am War Commander Keshatar of the Zorathian Empire. Your world has been catalogued and found suitable for imperial expansion. You will surrender all governmental authority to the Empire immediately. Your species will be relocated to designated sectors where you will serve the Empire's needs." Sarah felt her blood run cold. This was not the peaceful first contact that humanity had hoped for. This was conquest. "Your compliance is not optional," the alien commander continued. "Resistance will result in the complete destruction of your world and the elimination of your species. You have 1 standard galactic hour to respond with your surrender." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Sarah looked around at her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and anger that she felt in her own heart. Humanity had dreamed of meeting other intelligent life for generations. They had never imagined it would come in the form of an ultimatum. "Admiral," Lieutenant Rodriguez said quietly, "what are your orders?" Sarah walked to the central command station and activated the ship-wide communication system. Her voice would be heard not just on Horizon Station, but on every defense platform, every ship, and every military installation in the solar system. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen," she began, her voice steady and strong. "1 hour ago, we received humanity's first communication from an alien species. They call themselves the Zorathian Empire, and they have come to conquer Earth." She paused, letting the weight of those words sink in across the fleet. "They believe we are primitive. They believe we will surrender without a fight. They believe that humanity will simply roll over and accept slavery." Sarah's voice grew stronger with each word. "They are wrong." Across the solar system, human crews cheered. Fighter pilots gripped their controls tighter. Weapons officers powered up their systems. In that moment, every division that had ever existed between nations, races, and cultures disappeared. They were no longer Americans, Chinese, Europeans, or Africans. They were human beings, and they would not go quietly into the night. "Attention, War Commander Keshatar," Sarah said, opening a channel to the alien fleet. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command. We have received your ultimatum, and we have prepared our response." She took a deep breath, knowing that her next words would either save humanity or doom it. "Earth does not surrender. Earth does not kneel. If you want our world, you'll have to take it from us. And we promise you this. We will make you regret ever setting foot in our solar system." The response from the Zorathian flagship came quickly. War Commander Keshatar's voice carried a note of surprise that hadn't been there before. "You would choose extinction over service?" the alien commander asked. "Your weapons are primitive, your ships are crude, your technology is centuries behind ours. You cannot possibly believe you can stand against the might of the Zorathian Empire." Sarah smiled grimly. "War Commander, you've made one critical error. In your calculations, you don't know what humans are capable of when their backs are against the wall. You're about to find out." She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. "All stations, prepare for battle. Launch all fighters. Bring weapons to full power. Today we show the galaxy what humanity is made of." The die was cast. In the cold darkness of space, 2 civilizations prepared for a conflict that would determine the fate of Earth and the future of humanity among the stars. The battle for humanity's future. War Commander Keshatar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Stellar Dominion, studying the tactical displays with growing confusion. In his 300 years of service to the Zorathian Empire, he had conquered 47 worlds. Every species he had encountered had either surrendered immediately upon seeing the Empire's superior firepower or been crushed within hours of the first attack. The humans were different. The primitive species had not only refused to surrender, but they were actively preparing to fight. Their small fleet of crude vessels was moving into defensive positions around their home world. Their weapons, while laughably weak by Zorathian standards, were being charged and aimed directly at his ships. Most disturbing of all, their communications were filled with determination rather than fear. Sub-Commander Vexhan, Keshatar called to his second-in-command. "What is your analysis of the human defense fleet?" The younger Zorathian approached the command platform, his scaled skin gleaming under the bridge lights. "War Commander, their largest vessels are approximately 1/10 the size of our destroyers. Their weapons appear to be based on primitive, projectile and energy systems. By all calculations, our shields should absorb their attacks with minimal damage." Keshtar nodded slowly. "And yet they continue to prepare for battle. Either they are incredibly foolish, or they know something we do not." On the screens around the bridge, the human fleet continued its preparations. Smaller vessels were launching from the planet's surface and its moon, swelling the ranks of defenders. The humans were actually mobilizing more ships as the hours passed, not fewer. "War Commander," the communications officer announced, "we're receiving multiple transmissions from the human fleet. They appear to be coordinating their battle plans using unsecured channels." "Put it on speakers," Keshatar ordered. "Let us hear what these primitives are planning." The bridge filled with human voices speaking in dozens of different languages, all translated by the ship's universal systems. What Keshatar heard surprised him. "Blue Squadron, take position at Grid 77 Alpha," came one voice. "Watch for the big one in the center. That's got to be the command ship." "Roger that." "Blue Leader, Red Squadron is moving to flank position. We'll hit them from 2 directions at once." "All stations, this is Admiral Chen. Remember, we don't need to destroy their entire fleet. We just need to hurt them enough to make them think twice about attacking our world." Keshatar found himself impressed despite himself. The humans were communicating with remarkable efficiency, coordinating hundreds of vessels across vast distances. Their tactics, while simple, showed a practical understanding of space combat that many species took centuries to develop. "Begin the attack," Keshatar ordered. "Target their largest vessels first. Show them the futility of resistance." The Zorathian fleet opened fire with weapons that could shatter moons. Beams of concentrated energy lanced through space toward the Gao human defenders. The first volley should have ended the battle in seconds. Instead, something unexpected happened. The human ships scattered like leaves in a hurricane, moving in random patterns that made them difficult to track. Their smaller vessels darted between the energy beams while their larger ships returned fire with everything they had. The human weapons, while individually weak, were fired in coordinated volleys that focused on single targets. Dozens of ships would concentrate their firepower on one Zorathian vessel, overwhelming its shields through sheer volume of fire. "Impossible," Sub-Commander Vexhan muttered as he watched the tactical display. "They're using swarm tactics. Their individual units are weak, but they're attacking as a unified force." The battle raged for hours. The Zorathians had superior technology, but the humans had something the Empire had rarely encountered: adaptability. Every time the Zorathian fleet adjusted their tactics, the humans changed theirs as well. They used their planet's gravity well to slingshot their fighters into attack runs. They hid behind their moon and launched surprise attacks. They even used debris from destroyed ships as improvised weapons. Admiral Sarah Chen commanded the human fleet from Horizon Station, watching the battle unfold on dozens of screens around her. She could see that humanity was taking heavy losses, but they were also inflicting damage on the supposedly invincible Zorathian Empire. "Lieutenant Rodriguez," she called out over the noise of battle. "Status report." "We've lost 30% of our fleet, Admiral," Rodriguez replied, his voice tight with stress. "But we've destroyed or disabled 12 enemy vessels. Their shields are weaker than we initially thought." Sarah nodded grimly. They were hurting the enemy, but at a terrible cost. She needed something to turn the tide of battle. "Ma'am," called out Communications Officer Lisa Park, "I'm picking up something strange from the enemy flagship. Their communications are becoming increasingly erratic." Sarah moved to Park Station and listened to the translated Zorathian communications. What she heard made her smile for the first time since the battle began. War Commander Keshatar was arguing with his subordinates, his voice rising with each exchange. The humans were not following the expected patterns of behavior. They were not retreating despite massive losses. They were not surrendering despite being outgunned. Most disturbing of all, they were learning from each engagement and becoming more effective with each passing hour. "Sub-Commander," Keshatar was saying, "explain to me how a primitive species with inferior technology is managing to damage our ships." "War Commander," came the reply. "They fight unlike any species we have encountered. They show no fear of death, and they adapt their tactics faster than our computers can predict their movements." Sarah realized that the humans had found their advantage. The Zorathian Empire was used to fighting species that followed predictable patterns. Humans, with their chaotic creativity and stubborn refusal to give up, were completely outside their experience. "All ships," Sarah broadcast to the human fleet, "implement protocol chaos. All vessels are to act independently. No formation flying, no predictable patterns. Trust your instincts and make every shot count." The effect was immediate. The human fleet, already difficult to predict, became completely random in its movements. Individual captains began using tactics that no military academy had ever taught, improvising strategies based on pure intuition and desperation. On the Zorathian flagship, alarms began to sound. The Empire's targeting computers, designed to predict enemy movements based on logical military doctrine, could not keep up with the human fleet's erratic behavior. "This is madness," Sub-Commander Vexhan reported. "Their ships are flying in patterns that make no strategic sense, yet they continue to score hits on our vessels." Keshatar watched in growing amazement as a small human fighter craft, damaged and leaking atmosphere, deliberately rammed itself into one of his destroyers. The explosion was spectacular, and the destroyer was knocked out of the battle. The human pilot had sacrificed himself not for victory, but simply to take one more enemy ship out of the fight. "War Commander," his communications officer announced, "Admiral Chen is requesting to speak with you directly." Keshatar considered for a moment, then nodded. "Put her through." Admiral Sarah Chen's image appeared on the main screen. She was bloodied and her uniform was torn, but her eyes burned with unquenchable determination. "War Commander Keshatar," she said, "I have a proposal for you." "Speak, human," Keshatar replied, genuinely curious to hear what she would say. "Your empire is powerful and your technology is advanced," Sarah continued, "but you made one crucial mistake. You assumed that might makes right and that superior weapons guarantee victory. You forgot that the strongest force in the universe is the will to be free." Keshatar found himself leaning forward, captivated by her words. "We have hurt you today," Sarah said. "Not because we are stronger, but because we refuse to quit. Every human ship you destroy is replaced by 2 more volunteers. Every pilot you kill inspires 10 more to take their place. You can conquer our world, War Commander, but you will never conquer our spirit." For the first time in his long military career, Keshatar felt something he had never experienced before: respect for his enemy. "What do you propose, Admiral?" he asked. "A ceasefire," Sarah replied. "Withdraw your fleet from Earth's system. In return, humanity will not pursue your ships or seek revenge for today's battle. But know this: if you ever return with conquest in mind, we will be ready. And next time, we will be stronger." Keshatar looked around his bridge at his crew. He saw doubt in their eyes for the first time. The humans had done something that no species in the Empire's history had accomplished. They had made the Zorathian military question their own invincibility. "You would trust us to honor such an agreement?" Keshatar asked. Sarah smiled grimly. "War Commander, I don't trust you at all. But I know that you are intelligent enough to understand that conquering Earth would cost you more ships and lives than it's worth. We have proven today that humans don't make good slaves. We fight too hard and die too stubbornly." Keshatar made his decision. "Admiral Chen, I accept your proposal. The Zorathian Empire will withdraw from your system. But know this: word of your species' courage will spread throughout the galaxy. You have made powerful enemies today, but you have also earned the respect of warriors across the stars. Then we'll be ready for whatever comes," Sarah replied. "Humanity always is." As the Zorathian fleet began its withdrawal from Earth's solar system, War Commander Keshatar stood on his bridge, contemplating what he had witnessed. The humans had taught the Empire a valuable lesson about the power of determination and the strength of the free spirit. In the months that followed, news of humanity's defiance spread throughout the galaxy. Some species saw Earth as a threat to be eliminated. Others saw humans as potential allies in their own struggles for freedom. The Zorathian Empire, for its part, began to question whether conquest was truly the path to lasting power. Admiral Sarah Chen received a promotion to Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces. Under her leadership, humanity prepared for the day when other empires would test their resolve. They built better ships, trained harder, and never forgot the lesson of their first galactic war, that the human spirit, once awakened, was the most powerful force in the universe. Earth had taken its place among the stars not as a conquered world, but as a free planet that had earned its independence through courage, determination, and the unbreakable will to remain free. The galaxy would never be the same.